Hi Lana, welcome back to Lana's Coach. So, is it really possible to become a full stack web developer in 7 days? Right? Think about it. Yes, it is possible, right? 7 days means you can always utilize maybe the entire 24 hours per day, right? Let's say the maximum that you can use to learn full stack per day is, let's say, 8 hours, right? So if you multiply those 8 hours by 7 days, that's around 56 hours. So that's a great number of hours that you can put into understanding how full stack a web developer is made, right? So yes, 7 days makes sense. So it depends with the number of hours that you put in place. But that's aside. It's very important for us also to understand what really makes you become a full stack web developer, right? So let's begin by maybe understand what is full stack web development, or what is full stack web who is a full stack web developer, right? Now, there are almost three angles to this. First, we have the front end development. Then we have the back end development, and of course, you need to also to have some database around this. So, if you understand all these angles of web development, then you should call yourself a full stack web developer. So maybe to bring you to speed, I've just opened our website, that is Learner's Coach. I've shared the link within the description so that you can be able to go through this particular article. But it's my responsibility to pick the essential stuff that will aid you to become a full stack developer. So yes, as I'd mentioned, this is a process of creating a complete web application, both from the front end and of course from the back end. I'm going to take you through the 7 days. What are you going to learn throughout the 7 days so that you become a full stack web developer, right? So yes, you need to learn the front end, and you need to understand things such as HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and of course backend. You need to understand things such as Python, Ruby on Rails, and so on. So, who exactly is a full stack developer? As I mentioned, for you to become a full stack developer, you need to know both front end and back end web development, right? So, front end developers will create and optimize visible parts of the website, right? Using the client interfacing languages such as HTML and JavaScript and so on. And of course, for the back end developer, they'll require some programmers to define, or rather understand, the internal software that operates maybe the company's database and so on. So ideally, back-end developers are responsible for creating the pathways to deliver information to and from users who operate front-end interfaces. And this is where the name full stack comes from. So full stack simply refers to the entirety of a site or application's front and back end architecture. So as you might expect, full stack professionals are capable of addressing both the sides of this particular development process. So we now need to break it down, the 7 days. So what do you need to do? Now, for us to maybe understand how we can tackle the full stack development process, we need to break it down into the 7 days, right? So ideally, the first day, that is, you need to commit to learning about HTML and CSS, which is very, very simple, right? Which is very, very simple. HTML ideally is going to take you like roughly 5 hours, in fact 2 hours, for you to understand it. And then CSS, you can use the next 3 hours to tie them together. So what you need to achieve at the end of this particular first day is that you should be able to create a simple web page with text, images, and what? And links. So that is the first deliverable. On the second day, you need now to introduce yourself to JavaScript, or rather the jQuery, right? So we are going to dive in into the programming language and ensure that you understand how jQuery and of course the various how the various JavaScript libraries work in when it comes to manipulating HTML and CSS. So ideally, by the end of the second day, you should be able to add dynamic behavior, right, to your web page using JavaScript and jQuery. So if you proceed to the third day, and you can see, maybe let me just, if you see, look at this icon here, download ebook. So ideally, this particular ebook, if you download it, it's going to give you the holistic approach, whatever we are mentioning here. And I've downloaded it, I've used it, and I'll tell you it's going to give you a lot of value. So ideally, the third day, what you're expected to learn is introducing yourself to Node.js and Express, right? So you'll be explained to what a server is and how it works, and you'll be taught how to create basic server using Node.js and Express. So ideally, in this particular day, you should be able to create simple server that responds to hypertext transfer protocol request. That is the HTTP request. So on the fourth day, you are now introduced to the concepts of what? Database, or how you can connect database with your Mongo database, or DB, right? So in this particular day, you'll be taught how to install and set up your MongoDB, and show how to connect your Node.js, that is a server, to the particular database, which is MongoDB. So ideally, at towards the end of this day, you should be able to store and retrieve data from what? Your DB or MongoDB database, using the server that you learned in day 3, that is Node.js. On this particular day, the fifth day, you will be taught how to build a RESTful API. So here is where it becomes interesting, right? Here is the game changer, right? So as you know, to be able to ensure that you can integrate your application with the different services, right? What we normally refer to as maybe CRUD, right? That can handle CRUD. Yeah, you can be able to create, read, update, and delete operations on your Mongo database. So it's going to explain to you how an API works and how you should use those particular CRUD options that you have mentioned. So ideally, you should be able to create a simple API, right? And you should be able to integrate or interact it with your database. Then on the sixth day, you'll be taught how to use React. Yeah, this is a popular front-end JavaScript library for building user interfaces. I know this, if you are fresh on this, it sounds a bit hard, but no. This particular ebook is going to break for you these concepts bit by bit, right? So that you consume them to your own level. So here you'll be taught the basics of React components, the props, the states, and you'll be shown how to use the React to create some dynamic user interface for your web app. So ideally, by the end of this day, you should be able to create a simple React component that integrates into your web application. Having said that, on a final day, you will be required to tie, right, everything together, right? So you'll be shown how to compile and bring and actually build a complete web application from scratch. Maybe integrating your user interface with React, connect your database with your server, and also build a RESTful API. So ideally, the last day is now to have the final prototype of what you have learned. So you'll agree with me, if you are a student who, or you are interested in becoming a full stack developer, the 7 days are just well enough. So here's the secret. You need to come to this particular website and you just download this particular ebook, right? This ebook will take you through the 7 days, and I know you'll actually appreciate the content within that particular ebook. All right, so thanks for that.